the ominous prediction. I'd never put much stock in tarot readings, but after hearing so much about the local shop, my curiosity got the better of me. The shop was tucked away on a quiet street, its sign barely visible through the dense fog of incense wafting out. Inside, the place was dimly lit by flickering candles and filled with the scent of burning sage. Shelves lined with mystical artifacts and dusty books added to the atmosphere, giving it an old-world charm. The tarot reader, an elderly woman with piercing eyes, greeted me with a nod. Her fingers were adorned with silver rings, each glinting as she shuffled a deck of cards that looked as ancient as the shop itself. We sat at a small table covered with a deep purple cloth. She began to lay out the cards in a pattern I'd never seen before, complex and intricate, with symbols and images that seemed to pulse with a life of their own. When she flipped over the first card, her face went pale. The Tower. She paused for a moment, the candlelight casting dancing shadows across her face. "This card," she said in a hushed tone, "represents upheaval and sudden, unavoidable change. It's a sign that you may be facing some significant disruptions in your life." I tried to laugh it off, telling myself it was just a general reading. I paid for the session and left the shop with a mix of skepticism and unease. The reading seemed more dramatic than profound, and I went about my days, dismissing it as nothing more than a curiosity. But within a week, the unexpected began to unravel. It started with my job. The company I worked for underwent a sudden reorganization, and I found myself unexpectedly laid off. The news hit hard, and as I began to come to terms with my new reality, the situation worsened. A close friend, someone I'd trusted deeply, abruptly ended our friendship, leaving me reeling from the betrayal. It was as if my world was collapsing piece by piece. Just when I thought things couldn't get any worse, I was involved in a serious car accident. The crash wasn't fatal, but it left me with severe injuries and a totaled car. The physical pain and the financial strain only compounded the sense of chaos and loss that had taken over my life. As I lay in bed recovering, the tarot reading haunted my thoughts. The events seemed too aligned with the prediction. Was it merely coincidence? Or was there something more to it? Had the reading somehow set these events in motion? Or was the reader simply more perceptive than I had given her credit for? I found myself unable to escape the feeling that the card's warning was more than just a vague prediction. The reader's words echoed in my mind, and I began to wonder if she had known something about my future that she hadn't fully revealed. The Tower had become a symbol of my recent turmoil, a dark omen that I couldn't shake. In the end, I couldn't help but question the role of fate and whether the tarot reading had been a premonition or a self-fulfilling prophecy. The unsettling feeling that I had somehow been guided onto this path lingered, leaving me with a new and uneasy perspective on the power of predictions and the fragile nature of control over our own destinies. The Lost Client. I had always been intrigued by the stories surrounding the local tarot card reader, known for her unsettlingly accurate predictions. Curious but skeptical, I decided to visit her for a session. The shop was a cozy yet eerie space, adorned with candles and dark drapes, creating an atmosphere that felt both inviting and ominous. As I sat down, the reader, an older woman with sharp eyes and an enigmatic smile, began shuffling her deck. The cards seemed almost to hum with anticipation. She drew 3 cards in quick succession: the Hanged Man, the Devil, and the Moon. Her face grew serious as she examined them. "These cards," she said cryptically, "suggest a person from your past will resurface and affect your future in a troubling way. The Hanged Man indicates a period of pause or suspension, the Devil suggests a negative influence or temptation, and the Moon warns of deception and uncertainty." I left the session feeling a mix of curiosity and disbelief. The reading seemed vague, and I chalked it up to dramatic flair. But over the next few weeks, the unsettling prediction began to materialize in a way that left me questioning the nature of fate and intuition. It started subtly. I noticed small, irritating incidents at work, files going missing, emails being mysteriously deleted. The disturbances were annoying but not alarming until my former colleague Jason, whom I had a major falling out with, reappeared out of the blue. Jason had been a difficult presence in my life, and our last interaction had ended in a heated argument and his abrupt departure. Jason's return was unexpected and unsettling. He began showing up at places I frequented, making attempts to rekindle connections under the guise of seeking closure. At first, I tried to be civil, hoping for a peaceful resolution. However, his presence soon started causing disruptions. He would sabotage work projects, spread rumors, and create chaos in personal circles. It was as if he had a personal vendetta against me, stirring up trouble wherever he went. The timing was eerily close to the tarot reading, and the details matched with unsettling precision. It felt as though the reader's prediction was playing out in real life. My initial skepticism began to wane as I experienced the true impact of the forecasted disruption. Jason's actions were creating a turbulent and chaotic environment, exactly as the cards had suggested. As I navigated the fallout from Jason's reappearance, I couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to the tarot reading than mere coincidence. Had the reader genuinely tapped into some deeper understanding of my future, or was there a more sinister element at play? The precision of the prediction left me wondering if she had insider knowledge or if the universe was simply aligning itself in a disturbingly accurate manner. The experience left me with a new perspective on the potential power of tarot readings and their impact on our lives. The prediction that once seemed vague and cryptic had become a chilling reality, causing me to reflect deeply on the nature of fate and the hidden forces that might shape our destinies. The mysterious symbol. I visited a tarot card reader one afternoon, intrigued by her reputation for insightful predictions. The session was unremarkable, with the reader offering general advice and standard interpretations. However, at the end of the reading, she drew a peculiar symbol on one of the cards and told me it represented a significant life change that was soon to come. She seemed somewhat cryptic about its meaning, but insisted that it was important. As weeks passed, I nearly forgot about the symbol until I started seeing it everywhere. The first instance was during a visit to a local thrift store. While browsing through old books, I came across a dusty, leather-bound volume with the same symbol etched onto the cover. It was odd, but I dismissed it as a coincidence. The next sighting occurred a few days later when I was walking through an alleyway. There, on a graffiti-covered wall, was the symbol painted in bright, unsettling colors. I paused, feeling a shiver run down my spine. It was as if the symbol was following me. The third and most disturbing sighting was during a family gathering. While going through old family photos, I noticed the symbol subtly embedded in the background of a picture from my childhood. It seemed to be hidden in plain sight, barely noticeable but unmistakably there. Around the same time, my life began to experience a series of minor yet troubling changes. I had increasing misunderstandings with loved ones, small accidents that seemed to happen more frequently than usual, and an overarching sense of dread that seemed to settle over my daily life. These disruptions felt disjointed but connected by a common thread of unease. I couldn't shake the feeling that the symbol might be more than just a random design. The frequent appearances of the symbol seemed too coincidental, and the timing of these disturbances made me question their connection. Was there a deeper, more troubling significance behind the symbol? Had it somehow become a harbinger of the unsettling changes in my life? I began to research the symbol, hoping to uncover any hidden meanings or historical significance that might explain its repeated appearances. My search led me to ancient texts and obscure references, but nothing seemed to fit. The more I delved, the more I wondered if the symbol had some power to influence my life, or if it was merely a psychological trigger, an artifact of my own fears manifesting in a tangible form. Despite my efforts to rationalize the occurrences, the pattern remained unnervingly consistent. Each sighting of the symbol seemed to coincide with a new disruption, reinforcing my growing unease. I eventually came to the conclusion that the symbol's significance might be tied to my own perception of fate and the impact that seemingly random events can have on our lives. The experience left me pondering the nature of symbols and their potential influence on our reality. Whether the symbol was a true omen or simply a psychological manifestation of my anxiety, it served as a stark reminder of how our minds can intertwine with the external world, creating a tapestry of meaning that can be both unsettling and profound.